Hey guys, I wanted to show you this. Andrew Frankel is the person who stalked me while he was in a medical program with USC. He did a lot of things, and I'm going to show you right here. Remember I showed you my neck? So they're studying spinal lordosis by giving it to women and men. So they're claiming they're taking a neck that doesn't have spinal lordosis. Here's Andrew Vega's name. Purpose: to evaluate which cervical level is the most appropriate level to measure whatever this is. Method: 62 patients. These people did not consent to being given spinal lordosis. So they shorten your face in the front and they drill out the back of the spine here to give you spinal lordosis so that you're disabled. So this person, Andrew Vega, did this. And here is a judgment in a criminal case against that same person, Andrew Vega. Registration 626-08298. The defendant pleaded guilty to 2 of the information, whatever the hell that means. I've never seen anything like this, 2 of the information. But let's go down. Attempted bringing in alien without presentation and aiding and abetting. Bringing in alien. The hell does that mean? Bringing in alien. I think that they pretend we're aliens on paper, but I did have a British accent when I was a child, which would show directed torture against a child coming from England. But again, this is a very weird case because it was like remaining in the information. Oh, they're only charging, after disabling a woman forever, charging $100. That's it. There's no fine. And then this is on November 27th. Honorable Whelan. These judges are corrupt, you guys. They know that they're raping women. They know that they're torturing them. They know that they're drilling out their spine to disable them. And here's the case number. Andrew Vega. The defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the United States Bureau of Prisons to be imprisoned for a term of 12 months and 1 day. So the Bureau of Prisons is the one that you are in custody of. Because remember, we also have Mike Coulter, who worked for the Department of Corrections, sending me penis after penis. They literally harass you, which I found in Ronnie Yu Yashiro's computer, saying that she supports the sending of penises to people who don't want them as sexual harassment. All right. The court makes the following recommendations to the Bureau of Prisons: that the defendant serve his custodial term in a Western regional facility so that he never really goes to jail. It's the women that he's doing it to that go to jail. All right. So Andrew Vega, supervised release. Upon release from imprisonment, the defendant shall be on supervised release for a term of 2 years. The defendant shall report to the probation office in the district which the defendant is released within 74 hours. For offenses committed on or after September 13th, 1994, the defendant shall not possess a firearm, ammunition, destructive device, or any other dangerous weapon, because they're using ATF laws to harm women. And then they're also using fire safety. And the firemen say, we can't save the person, we can only put out the fire. So we can't save the structure. I have a bunch of documents that show that in these homeowners documents, they show that there's no kind of, they don't have to get permission to do this under this homeowners documents that I found in these homeowners documents that are run by the LDS Church under a false homeowners association in Utah. The defendant shall cooperate in the collection of a DNA sample from the defendant pursuant to Section 3 of the DNA Analysis Backlog Elimination Act. So they're claiming it's him that's giving it, but it's not. They're taking it from the women they're doing it to. And I'm sure they're doing it to men too. The defendant shall comply with the requirements of Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. Okay, so why? Well, because he committed a sex crime. All right. Standard conditions of supervision. So they're doing this to take away, he's not allowed to enter or reside in the Republic of Mexico without permission of the court or a probation officer. Report vehicles owned or operated or in which you have an interest to the probation officer. Submit person, property, person. Here's the slavery part. Property, place of residence, vehicle, or personal effects to a search conducted by a United States probation officer at a reasonable time and in a reasonable manner, based upon reasonable suspicion of contraband or evidence of a violation of condition of release. Remember, they bring the crime against your property, meaning they're saying your jaw is too big and we are going to cut it off. And we're going to also take your ovaries because your worth is too much. And we hate women and we hate men. All done through USC Department of Defense contracts. In violation, failure to submit to a search, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty crazy. So you go here, 2 of the information. This one's a little bit weirder. Let's see. So here we go. This is a longer version. The defendant is guilty. Count, title, section, nature of offense. 8, attempted bringing an alien without presentation and aiding and abetting. The defendant is sentenced as provided. The sentence is imposed pursuant to the Sentencing Reform Act, which probably is why women and children are being entrapped by federal agents, because they want to have a Sentencing Reform Act that gives back to communities of color that they're telling us are targeted. You know, maybe they have a DUI in the Midwest and they're subjected to 400 years in prison, you know, something like this. But I haven't studied this act. I guess we should. The defendant has been found not guilty on counts IZI in the information is dismissed on the motion of the United States. So they hide what they actually did to the woman, which is entrapment by a federal agent, because when you are a medical doctor, you're actually working for the federal government. So he would continuously ask me to kill myself and write. I mean, I have thousands of records from this person. Let me show you. Here's messages with Andrew Vega, you know, trying to start up, you know, a conversation. I have 363 pages of the messages. I got these messages off my phone because, you know, it turned into a lot of different things. It turned into telling me the community hated me and wanted to murder me. It went into encouragement of killing myself, a lot of very abusive messages. And this person at the time of making these messages was a federal agent in a medical system and wanted to do research and disable my spine. So I just need you to know how kind of crazy it goes. Then we got Tony Moore, who is an agent and attached to the LDS Church. Again, this is 496 pages of, you know, what I would consider to be sexual harassment and a bunch of different things where he had no interest. He just had interest in causing me torture. So this is state and federal agents that have infiltrated my life, and that I have their evidence right here, where they just, I mean, this goes on and on. This is weird. He's saying as above, so below. He's saying a bunch of satanic stuff in this document. But at the time, they ask all of your friends to abandon you, or they fake the deaths of Steve Coleman, Les Plesko, just a bunch of people, and they do it with your schools and with the police departments. And it is crazy. Crazy, crazy. So this is, again, sexual harassment. Sorry, I'm about to wank. I haven't jerked off to metal in years. You know what I mean? It was just, you have to understand that I was harassed and coerced sexually and through sexual harassment by Andrew Vega, who then did that study on my neck where I'm being disabled, and then I'm under some kind of United States Marshal by Deputy United States Marshal. But it doesn't say who. It doesn't say who. So you have to remember how they do it. The defendant shall not leave the judicial district without the permission. But they don't tell you that you're the defendant. So what happens is you, without knowing, you're being made to look like you are not doing the right thing because you don't know it's you. Right? Collection of the DNA sample, which can be eggs, ovaries, anything. So let's look at this. Pursuant to this, let me see what this says. Sex offender. Because he's a sex offender, you guys. And he was a federal agent when he was a sex offender. So I just started looking up everyone who was harassing me at that time. Conclusion of a term of supervised release. And I told you, one of the people that infiltrated my life after she was mutilated works for immigration. So okay, so if I'm an immigrant, not here of my own volition, how did they marry me to an FBI agent named Christopher Cartwright, or my father? I mean, how did they do this? This is very weird. Part of the drug testing. Delayed revocation. All right, let me go back to the... So again, they're using so many loopholes in the law, but again, the city of Los Angeles is the one that's seizing the ovaries and then selling them through this weird organization that goes through Utah and the LDS Church. But they also use, they use evangelical rights to harm women and children because of the worth of the ovaries. The city did not have a good faith belief that Apelli's possessions were abandoned when it destroyed them. Indeed, on a number of occasions when the city seized Apelli's possessions, Apelli's and other persons were present explained to city employees that the property was not abandoned, Ken Gianaba, and implored the city not to destroy it. But they're not destroying it. They're creating babies with it, you guys. They're creating babies with it. Although the city was in fact notified that the property belonged to these people, when attempts to retrieve the property were made, the city took it and destroyed it anyway. The city does not deny that it has a policy and practice of seizing and destroying homeless persons' unabandoned possessions, nor is the practice new. So they got enjoined, I think, from doing this, but they're still doing it. The city maintains, however, that its seizure and disposal of items is authorized pursuant to this. A local ordinance that provides that no person shall leave or permit to remain any merchandise, baggage, or article of personal property upon any parkway or sidewalk. But however, they're cutting it out of women. And I mean,